The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Media Mash, a roundtable of Cowboys insiders dropping wisdom and offering sizzling takes on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys. Now, your host, Newy Scruggs.
Here we are, the Media Mash. It is Wednesday. We've got your favorites, the ones you love, the insiders, the ones who cover the Cowboys, who listen to the rules, except for Clarence. Tad is tired of you talking out of turn.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Piggybacking.
Tad's going to have something for you this Christmas. I don't know if it's going to be a gift. So.
Tad Carper is the head of PR for anybody that doesn't know. That's who he's talking about.
Got a point for Tad to point. Tad's got it all lined up, and Clarence just after a game. Well, Green Bay. I thought Green Bay, he was going to choke you in Green Bay.
Clarence gets excited after these games, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I was standing right by you, and I thought the same thing.
First of all, sometimes, I understand what he's trying to do, but it's silly on road games. But it was that. It's silly on road games, in the locker room, in the media where just everybody's standing, and it's like a crowded room, to sit up here and do this. When a regular press conference, when we're sitting on Monday, it makes sense because, people can see you. Nobody can, come on, stop it.
I personally appreciate it because
not on road games.
Because
first of all,
guys
you get your
like
own,
you get your love to hog.
You get
the
your
questions.
own time. First of all, let's open the curtain behind the scenes. Miss NFL Network gets
Jane
her own,
Slater,
on
NFL
exclusive
media.
interview. They'll pull her into the locker room so she get the main player.
Oh, she's on the field.
Yeah, but I'm talking about at the beginning at the locker room. They pull her in and she gets her own personal.
Last I checked,
No,
Jerry
the
Jones
field this
is
year.
the chairperson of the NFL Network.
Nobody's
committee,
hating on that.
And if you're not telling me that you don't get phone calls from in-house because Jerry Jones loves to seize papers. The newspapers.
See,
you act like you guys don't. It was just a few years ago that I tried to sit in on an off-the-record conversation, and I was told I'm not local. I live on this beat. You guys get plenty.
I was not hating.
Who told you this? Can you say?
No,
Who told you
Jane,
that they weren't
you're
allowed
taking us down another road.
Right, I was not hating
Stay
on
on
your
point.
access.
Stay on point, Jane.
I was not hating
He was
on
the one that's like, she gets three
No,
questions
but
off to the side.
I was not hating on access. I was just pointing out you do have exclusive access. I was not hating on it. It's
You
okay.
have just as much exclusive access.
No, we don't.
No.
We do not.
No, the lies
Not
we
after
tell
the game. We
ourselves.
do not.
This is so ridiculous.
So
We're not.
getting back to
you're
those.
an NFL partner. I mean, that's
Getting back to those
You want to
sessions
show up to
after
the stadium at 6:30 in the morning and
So
do
you're-
7 hours of pregame
our
coverage.
praise
by all
is
means, my
we
man.
were not hating on your access. You don't have to attack. What I'm saying is
I never attack you. You take it wrong.
that was an attack. That was an attack.
I feel like you have
No,
personal
Nui
trauma
Nui
when a woman
agrees.
just comes at
No.
you and
My point
checks
was
you a little bit.
You were talking about the back and forth of questions, and sometimes it's not needed when you're in a crowded locker room. After the game, that's
and
unnecessary.
I would argue with some of the personalities on our beat, there's actually a nice flow to it.
Again,
Who would be the biggest personality on the beat? Let's see.
It's weird. I wonder if he's in the room.
Who would that be?
First, somebody got to ask the questions, okay?
Oh, yeah,
Anyway, I'm sorry, we
because
derailed
you
your
know what?
show.
I'll tell you guys what, after that Green Bay loss, if Chill wouldn't have been there to ask questions, Mike and Dak would have just stood at the podium. We'd all would have just stood there and been
Somebody
like,
ask questions.
well,
Jane.
you guys have anything to say? Nope, let's get out of here. There was nothing to talk about after that game. Nobody would ask any questions.
Do you want to take the reins of your show?
Yes, Clarence Hill, Fort Worth Star Telegram, John Bishotti, The Athletic, Jane Slater of NFL Media. I'm merely Newy Scruggs, but this is what we're going to do here for the next 45 minutes. We're going to have some fun.
This is what we're going to do.
It's like family dinner.
And you see how we eat our own. John is on my side, really. He doesn't think that we need to be doing that pointing stuff either. But because I made that one statement, then he jumps on Jane's side and attacks me.
Well, because you
It's not a
attacked.
family.
I was
You
not.
said
I was
that-
just talking
you
in
said that no
general.
one's going to ask any questions.
Okay, but you could have been on there. I'm just saying there are only a few people that are going to ask questions. Is what I'm saying. You could be in that group. I'm just saying. I'm talking to Jane, understanding that it's not necessary to do this all the time.
I don't need to get those first couple questions in because I need to get those tweets out.
Exactly.
That's what I need to
So
do.
somebody got to ask the questions to get them tweets out. See, we're on the same team.
Yeah.
Don't let Jane divide us.
I never said we weren't.
It literally is. The reason why I love this beat so much is we do allow ourselves the opportunity to sort of cap on each other, and it truly is like a family. I love you, Clarence. If you weren't
Hey, I'll tell you
constantly
right
coming at me, I'd be
now. I'll tell you
sad.
right now. We talked about yesterday on the show. when I showed up to the American Airlines Center and I see him and I see Kelvin, it's like we didn't tell each other that we were going, but it's like, well, Odell's going to be here. We all it's just like the combine, you're just like, you're going to see everybody. So
I've lost my edge. I found myself going, I should have gone to that.
Listen,
Where was Todd at? Where was Todd?
Todd don't care
Archer.
that stuff's beneath him.
He don't care. We had Tim McMahon down there, but he don't care.
Yeah.
He had some media, ESPN people down there, but yeah, we were. We had to be there. I had already known. We were talking about it Sunday after the game. We were asking Dak and Michelle, like, "You going? I'm going. You going?" I said, "I didn't really know because I had some stuff at the house with my family, and I didn't know, but I did put in a request just in case."
Right.
I said, then Friday, I gotta go.
I'll be honest. I was following all of your content. I was just as fascinated as everyone else because I think a lot of us too, and Dak had talked about this. He's more of a sweet guy, not courtside. But I was like, "Where's Zeke? Where's Dak?
Exactly.
Where's the contingency?"
Oh, so you missed that. So,
I know.
Were you at the Zeke press conference?
That was awesome.
When I asked, well, first of all, we got a couple of things on Zeke. I know we're off the rails here. So I asked Zeke about, why weren't you courtside? Why weren't you with them courtside? And he went, well, I can't go everywhere. Y'all want me to go everywhere. If I'd be out everywhere, y'all be talking about me.
He's
Fair.
not wrong.
Fair.
So I can't, because it was odd. Odell's an older player. I know he's more Dak and Zeke's age than Micah and Trevon's age, okay? So it's just odd that he was with Micah and Trevon. No offensive guys, two defensive guys, two young defensive guys. That's the group he was with.
You're not wrong. That was my thought. My thought was because Dak and Zeke spent a lot of time with him at Pro Bowl. Remember,
right,
I think
they
you were in
know
Orlando.
him. Yeah.
So I just assumed that they would be part of the contingency, and I even asked Micah and Trayvon the level of friendship, and it's like, I think no different than a lot of us on social media that are friends with other reporters. We meet on Instagram, you see each other at certain events, but that was kind of the level of their friendship. They don't know him like that, right? Or
even maybe CD and one of the receivers. It was interesting that it was Trayvon and so yes,
and Corey Gamble
and Corey Gamble, which is Kris Jenner's
toy boy,
which is what Odell brings.
I was wondering who's that guy.
Yeah,
John told me yesterday. I didn't know who the black guy.
So he enjoyed that, but I'll be honest. I felt dirty. I felt like paparazzi.
There was a paparazzi moment in there too, where I feel that way too. Yeah, I know.
Because I'm too old to be chasing people down the halls and going this way.
No, you're not.
It's not.
I am.
You love the messy.
No.
And it's not chasing, because when I think of chasing, I think of like running after something. It's not that.
We've done that
walking
before.
Backwards though, while they're walking, and you don't know what's behind
and they're
you.
not
You're
trying
tripping
to stop.
over other people,
There's
and you're just like.
It's one thing if you do it and they're going to stop and do an interview. It's another thing where they're not trying to talk to you. I feel like TMZ at the airport.
100%.
When they get those guys at the airport.
100%.
So we're doing that, and we felt dirty, but it was fun. Everybody is there, and so Jane again trying to throw me under the bus was Zeke.
You're my favorite.
So everybody is taking video of him coming in and leaving, right? You took a video of him leaving the arena.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So leaving the arena, he stops and chats it up with some female fans. Did you not get the video of him chatting up with female fans? Did you not show that when he was walking out?
I cut my videos so that there's certain things in, certain things left out.
So you didn't show the female fans hugging him up and getting the phone number?
No.
Clarence Hill, raw.
So
Mike Fisher was there too, so he has stuff.
So we all, everybody. What I'm saying is, so I just showed the whole video of him. I was trying to ask him questions. He wouldn't stop for me, but he stopped for these young ladies. And then, they gave him a phone number, and he kept walking out the building. That's what happened.
Do we know for a fact that a number was exchanged?
It was something, I don't know. Everybody on Facebook, Twitter, everybody said a number was exchanged.
But tell people how you posted this on your Instagram.
You tell them.
I highly enjoyed it. But he posted, and it was like, OBJ just saying hi to his fans.
As he
bunch
leaves
of very attractive women.
One
that he seemed to have a familiarity with.
I said, OBJ leaving the Mavs game saying hi to his fans. Fans was in quotes.
Messy.
That's what happened. He was leaving the building saying hi to his fans. And then she told Zeke, and then, Clarence, you posted that. You did him dirty. I did. He was just talking to fans.
You tried to do him dirty over what Jerry did to him.
Oh, yeah. Then I
was just returning the favor.
Yes, and we had that moment in the locker room.
I'm sorry, we have completely.
But it's insight to what's going on.
We're not allowed on together anymore.
Today was a really good locker room, by the way.
Oh, and so Zeke and I were talking about. I asked Zeke about the Jerry comments. He didn't want to talk about it again. Clarence, I ain't talking to you. You keep asking me your questions, and then he gave me a hug.
They did have a hug, and
And then he
I hate that there's
unhugged
a
him
policy
after I told him
that
how messy he
So,
was.
take
so
pictures
we
in the
had
locker room.
already squashed it, and Jane comes back and throws me back under the bus.
Yeah. No, but it was a good locker room today because you get Micah talking about that visit, the recruiting trip. I think the biggest thing to come out of that is that we all have sat there and gone around like, okay, well, when would we be able to come back and play? When would we be able to play? And Micah said that Odell told him 5 weeks. So that's 5 weeks from now. That's start of the playoffs. Hey, why don't you take it from there? Because you don't look too pleased about that.
I tried to tell you, man. I'm out.
Yeah.
Further why I'm out. But okay, you guys are all in. Clearly, you
Whoa.
you enjoyed the drama coming around, paparazzi.
No.
Man, that's you guys like that. You guys like that, and that's okay.
Yeah, so you're changing the story a little bit there because
I enjoyed
that's not. You
taking
didn't know
all of
that.
your
You didn't know
video.
the medicals though. You didn't know the
Right.
medical. The medicals change things.
Okay, so
Okay.
If the medicals are fine, I'd be still
All right,
on.
yeah, like, so
I would
let's
be
get
all
into
about them
this.
getting
Okay, first
in.
of all, there's two different things here. There's covering the story and also believing where he should be on the team. Yes, we enjoy covering the story. That's our job. So to say we enjoyed it, yes, we enjoy talking about it. We have to get it is content.
That's why
We
I love
enjoy
this beat.
content.
There's always stuff.
Okay, there's a
Absolutely.
difference between enjoying content and saying this is who they should add to the team. So it's our job to report the content. So we enjoy that. So that's our job. Now, as we analyze whether it's the right thing for the Cowboys to do, that's maybe a different conversation once you get all the information in.
Okay.
I think, based on my discussions, I think Jerry was very optimistic
Beforehand.
before the visit. And remember, we were outside the locker room on Sunday.
Right.
I had said to Jerry, I said, are you comfortable giving a guy a contract that you're not working out? And he said, I would do something uncomfortable. I have to because of the surgery. But then I think when he got in here, remember, he also said, I'll know. Like, he'll feel
Yeah,
it. He's been
right.
wrong on the feelings for. I get the sense when he was here and after talking to a bunch of people, the concern started to creep up about this knee. And I had pointed out to someone, well, what about the workout videos? We saw him, pulling weights and we hearing about the acceleration he's doing.
Good.
And I was told a lot of it was front on. You're not seeing him cut in and out. And that was cause for concern. And I've asked everyone close to OBJ, why isn't he working out? Like, how much is it going to set him back in his rehab process if we're seeing him pulling weights and doing some of that stuff just to go outside and run a few routes with Dak? And no one can give me a straight answer on that.
First of all, you can't really sit back when you're working out with the trainers whose job is it to make sure you're healthy.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's part of it. They wouldn't jeopardize him and put him in a situation like that. But just going back, the tenor, the momentum has waned. Jerry Jones was very excited Sunday night, very excited last week about the impending visit, what he could do for the team. His tone changed on the radio Tuesday, and we talked to him again today, and he refused to say that they were out. He said we're still working on it, but his tone is just much different than it was before, and it certainly has something to do with what he saw with the medical.
Before you guys jump in, I got it because I said that locker room was good today, and so DeMarcus Lawrence quote is definitely for Newey.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. So
What did he say?
All right. So DeMarcus Lawrence was asked, "Is it fair to say that you want the Cowboys to sign Odell Beckham Jr.?"
I loved this one.
He says, "It's fair to say I'm trying to reach a Super Bowl. So if he can come and help us with that, then yes, I'll accept him. But if we're just going to do the circus." No, I don't. I'm focused on this year, this team, what we have in this locker room, and the journey we're on. So when he said circus, when he said circus, I was like, I had a picture of Newey Scruggs in my head.
And let me bring up
Man
one
of substance
layer.
from South Carolina.
I had someone
Jim
in the league,
Clyburn, a man of substance. Yes.
I had a person in the league once tell me, if you want a free agent, you don't let him leave the building. And I said that to Jerry, and he goes, well, I've had some guys leave the building. And I went up to Jason Peters and I
Think
said,
about that accent.
did you have an offer when you left the building? He goes, I did. Now, that was a little different. He was able to work out for him. They had the Arkansas connection. They, obviously wanted to be a Cowboys from the area. But my point is, when you want a guy, you typically don't let him leave the building. And I don't know if the Giants offered him or the Bills offered him, but there certainly hasn't been any. There's typically leaks on that.
They've talked money, though. The Cowboys have talked money, okay?
No offer was made,
They
is
no
what
offer,
I
but
was told.
they've talked money. And
They might have talked it, but there's not an offer.
But they have an understanding of what he wants and what they want. And there's an understanding about that. But beyond the...
But my point is, Clarence, when you're being intentional, you have an offer.
Stop.
Yes, Dad.
let's get to the offer and what we may be hearing. As we tease the audience, there's more to come with our insiders.
We did go 15 minutes for the first flight.
Clarence Hill, Star Telegram, John Machota, The Athletic, Jane Slater of NFL Media, Nui Scruggs. I'm trying to band this thing and keep it together, but when we come back,
MVP.
how we might have some offers here. Let's dive into that next right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Home Ownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field. United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf. For winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Back to Media Mash.
Media Mash here on a Wednesday, a very spirited Wednesday, as we have the two Longhorns who I think that might be the only thing they have in common. Maybe they're going to go down and watch the Alamo Bowl together. Clarence Hill, Star Telegram,
he's throwing a short shot. He's throwing shots.
I know. I just ignore him.
Media, John Machota, The Athletic.
Throwing shots. Where's Florida State going this year?
They're going to the Cheez-It Bowl to play Oklahoma. Are you familiar with them?
Cheez-It!
I mean, if it's between Cheez-It and Duke's Mayo, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is.
Come on down to San Antonio to the Alamo Bowl.
Okay.
Record 7th appearance by the Longhorns.
Listen, sometimes you got to do. Hey, there was a time when it was the Holiday Bowl, sir. I don't know if you remember those Holiday Bowls.
Oh, yes, right. Yes, I do.
Every year in the Holiday Bowl.
I remember the year they got out of it. Mac politicked to get out of the Holiday Bowl and threw Aaron Rodgers in it. Aaron was mad, and Cal got smoked. So
they should just start calling it the Texas Bowl. I mean, that's where they live.
No.
Well, they got one in Houston
annoying.
called the Texas Bowl. So it's the Longhorn Invitation.
Hey,
better.
I got to ask you a question, Jane. I don't know if you follow college sports. What bowl is Pembroke State going to?
I have no idea.
Do you even know what? You don't even know what that is?
No.
You've heard of it?
No.
Yeah. You know what? See, here's the beauty
Is
of
that
this.
where you went?
No.
I'm sorry.
I went to Wayne
I'm
State,
sorry.
right?
I mean, he's one of the smartest guys I know.
I
So it's
know.
a heck of
You
an education.
realize
He's a smart guy.
At the
He's a
Division
smart guy.
II level, there are no bowl games at the Division II level.
I mean,
do you not know that?
Do they got playoff?
Do you not know that?
You
got jokes, but you don't have. We don't have.
Y'all winning
we don't have that.
Do y'all
right?
winning anything?
We had a playoff.
Oh, y'all winning anything?
Actually, Nui, where are you going to school right now?
Hey,
Why are you doing this?
He's literally one of the smartest guys I know.
We're not hating on his smartness, but he's hating on your alma mater. So it's fair to point out his alma mater. That's all I'm saying. That's fair. That's fair game.
I stick up for all
You're
the
too
small
attached
schools.
to affiliations.
By the way,
it's fair game. And we're frat
too
brothers.
attached to
I'm not too
affiliations.
attached, but he took a shot at your T school, Jane.
I'm a
You just can't
GDI.
let him go. No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
You're not. Why when who's on our team?
Major Applewhite.
Every Longhorn that comes here knows your name. Why?
Because I covered him when I was at Longhorn Network.
And because you worked with the UT.
Malik Jefferson?
Yeah.
That's it.
They all know her. They worship her.
No, they don't.
Jeez. Save this, Nui.
We were talking about Odell Beckham.
You were going to give us numbers, sir.
What I understand is that it's been the situation all along. Clearly, the Cowboys don't know if he's ready this year, but they don't want to do more than 1 year.
What did he want, numbers-wise? What is Odell?
I don't know what the numbers are. I mean, I've heard $20 million over 2 years. I don't know if I'm doing that if he's healthy at his age.
I think the question you really have to raise, and I had brought this up because I've talked through this with about 8 people I've talked to people that are close to OBJ. I've talked to people over here. And my question was whether the Cowboys get OBJ or not, and whether people believe that this was a Jerry stunt or not.
Okay.
It did motivate your wide receiver room. I mean, think about it. We started talking about OBJ in the bye week, and then in the Packers game, we started seeing CD really come along, and then Michael Gallup. And while they've said the right things on camera, you can kind of feel a little bit of the fatigue from both of them and the frustration. So I think you properly motivated that room, which I think is a good thing. But CD is going to be coming up for a contract next year, Tony Pollard. And I just have to wonder if you sign a guy and you're giving him all this money and he's just sitting on a shelf for you. I don't think OBJ is a cancer if he's able to play for you. I've enjoyed covering OBJ in his career. I think he's a talented player. And I think if he could play right now, Jerry would have literally opened up the pocketbook. I truly believe that.
He wouldn't have let him leave the building.
He would not have let him leave the building without an offer.
Right.
And he would have been competitive about it. But if you were to sign a guy based on future, and you've got guys coming up for a contract and he's taking away a piece of the pie and he's older, he's got these 2 ACL situations, I think that has a potential to create some friction in that locker room.
Yeah, but
that's what I believe.
I agree, but again, like DeMarcus said, the focus is now. The focus is winning now.
That's what I'm saying.
It's all about winning now. And so, yeah, it's kind of coincidental that the wide receivers started playing better when all this talk came up.
I don't think it's coincidental. I think if there was some young guy on your beat and they were like, Clarence isn't really getting a lot of scoops. We want someone like John that's going to take a bunch of videos, get us more clicks. You'd be stepping up your social media game.
Okay, but what I'm saying is this. I think it's also not a secret that they started playing better when Dak showed up.
I think all of it is linked together, right?
So
there's some continuity, but I think there was just a little bit of fire underneath them, as it would for any of us.
But as it should be. But the thing about it is that, and I think it's still a question, the need for Odell is not about the way CD was playing, or really the way Michael Gallup was playing, is that they need another weapon. The third receiver is Noah Brown. He's the personal punt protector. They still,
but
the Cowboys,
is a third wide receiver or even a 2 guy worth what he's ultimately looking for? I think that's the question that they're weighing right now.
That was always the case.
The other thing is that you're not talking about just a 2 or a 3. You're talking about a 2 or 3 that, if healthy, can produce like a 1.
Right, and you're talking about
how many guys you get a chance to get somebody
Jerry
like that.
It's always about the health. That's the main thing. But Jerry was talking about this being a potential difference-making player. I'm doing it because he's a difference-making player. If he's not a difference-making player, then yes, it's off the table. But if he's had the difference-making player, I don't care about their feelings. It's all about winning right now. It's not about their feelings. The Cowboys have worried about feelings for 27 years.
Again, I don't think they care about feelings if he can play right now.
We're on the same page.
What I'm saying is if you're paying that guy all that money and he can't contribute this season, then it starts to mess with your piece of the pie.
They're not doing
That's where it creates a little friction.
Yeah, and which is why a deal hasn't been done, but they're not doing it if he can't help this season.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Jerry is really in good faith still working on a deal? He told us today he was. But do you guys,
working on
in
a
good
deal
faith, think he's still working on it?
I think they're still in conversations.
Yeah,
I think they're still in conversations, and to him, that's part of it. I don't think the communications have been shut off. So, in essence, it's not over. They haven't moved on. Jerry hasn't moved on in his mind, and until Jerry moves on in his mind, it doesn't matter what anybody else in the organization thinks.
Jerry won't move on until he's with a different team.
And I hear you.
Yeah.
As I was told, Jerry could surprise everyone. Jerry could feel like this guy is good for business.
All of that.
Liked his energy. I think there's a part of him
he
that
liked the paparazzi on Monday night.
He kind of misses what Dez brought to this organization, that personality, the branding. But I do think that there's a lot of people in the building that are like, is this worth it? And to your point, what DeMarcus said, look at the circus that comes with it. And they haven't really had a circus-type player around here, if you think about it, in
right.
a while.
And
I miss it.
That is the great thing about this team is because they don't have that circus-type player. And Zeke got a lot of attention because of off-the-field stuff, but it's not like they have that 1,000-watt light bulb type player on this team, and he certainly and Jerry likes that. He liked that with Michael Irvin. He likes that with Deion Sanders. He likes that 1,000-watt personality, and they haven't had that. And Jerry doesn't care that it's a circus. I know DeMarcus Lawrence don't want a circus. Jerry don't care.
I get it.
Let me dive into some substance here. 77 at practice today.
Ooh. Yeah.
When do you expect him to be in the lineup?
I think it's pushing it to say this week, but next week I do. I don't think he's that far away. The way Zeke talked about him today, what he saw from him, he said, he looked like a guy. I don't have the right quote with me right now, but I mean, he saw a guy that he felt like was ready to contribute right away. I just don't think that they would put him out there after only practicing for 3 days, coming off that injury like that.
No.
Zeke said he looked really good. I feel bad for those DNs he was going against. I'm sure they're going to have some bruises on their chest. He looks good. He's in shape.
I've got an answer.
77 is Tyron Smith, by the way.
The good news, and I talked to Tyron. He said if they let him go, he's ready to play.
Yeah.
But the other thing about this is the good news is how the Cowboys been doing it, how they've been rotating guys. So there's a chance he could come out and do what they've done with Jason Peters.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to play the whole game.
Right.
But it's the Texans. If you're going to experiment and let's see what the guy got, we can put him in part of the rotation, a couple of snaps.
Does it get that much more difficult the following week, though?
So
that's what I'm saying. So you can do
that.
I was told, because I asked that exact question, I said, were you guys setting up to sort of sub in, sub out, and ease Tyron in by what we saw with the Colts game? Because I think all of us were sort of scratching our heads, like, why are you moving these guys in game? And it was described to me that we could see him make his debut against Jacksonville, and that's when you would see a sub in, sub out, and then he would be obviously ready to go for the Eagles. Like, that seems to be what they're kind of circling right now. Is let's get him, as Mike McCarthy always says, let's get a full week of practice, see how your body feels. But it sounds like he would play in the Jacksonville game, but maybe not necessarily start. You'd see that sub in, sub out, and then he'd be ready to go for.
And he's been ramping up for a while. It's not like he's just coming off the street, kind of like Jason Peters. He's been out there with Britt. He was here for all the training camp, so it's not like you're starting from scratch. And so he knows the system, he knows the offense, and so again. It's funny to me, and I'm glad they're doing it. I think that the Cowboys this year are doing whatever it takes to win a Super Bowl. Because I know in years past, you never mess with offensive line chemistry. You don't want to do this
fantasy football.
That's fantasy football. We can't move Zach Martin, the left tackle. You got to move one guy. You got to move two guys. All that mumbo jumbo. They're moving guys all around. They're tinkering with because they're trying to get the best 5 guys out there, and that is great. That's what you want to do. That's what you should be doing, especially against these games that you. Finna blow. Let's be honest. They're gonna blow out. They should blow out Houston. They should do the same thing with Jacksonville. Let's find out about this team. These are preseason games.
But to be fair, I think a lot of these guys exceeded a lot of expectations. I don't think a lot of people thought Tyler Smith was going to be as good as he was, or have the position flex that they've kind of been missing.
Again, but as a rookie, yes, and that's great. But especially a rookie, they don't even want to do that with a veteran, make him learn two different positions. They're doing that.
Remember
They've been doing that.
We would have these conversations.
Yes,
how hard is it to move? Well, you can't just move from guard to tackle or from right to
they
left
made it
side.
rocket science. It's just impossible to do. You
now
don't
we've
want
seen
to
them
do
do
this. Now all of a sudden, Tyler Smith comes in here.
Joe Philbin's a scientist.
You can just let him play everywhere. You can play. Connor McGovern can play guard and center and tackle in the same game. It's just full back, everything.
Since you said about substance, I also wanted to add in here. Clarence is going to love this. Although I don't know that we'll see Tyron Smith this week, I think we will see something from James Washington. It sounds like he's fully cleared. McCarthy said he's physically ready and that he was going to do a lot more work today than he did last week. So maybe we see him out there for some plays. I'm sure that crowd out there listening to this that wants to move on from Odell Beckham would love for James Washington to come in and show any positive.
What do you expect from James Washington, though, based on what we saw with the Steelers?
Okay, but listen to me.
That sounded real negative.
It was negative.
I'm asking
a whole lot of haterade in that voice.
Okay, I want to ask you something. I'm specific. I'm glad you brought that up. Whatever he did with the Steelers was better than Noah Brown has ever done.
Whoa.
I feel like that's a little harsh. I felt like
Is it?
I
A
thought
lot of
Noah.
hate now. There's a lot
I
of
thought
hate.
Noah. I thought Noah.
Okay.
I told you it was going to go this way.
I thought-
Burnt Orange Haters Club.
I thought Noah was quite the dog in the first couple of games this year.
I'm talking about throughout his career before this year. Whatever James
Okay,
Washington
that's a-
done,
okay,
whatever
that's a fair argument.
whatever
That's
James
fair.
Washington done with the Steelers was better than he's ever done.
That's a fair argument.
That's
I'll give
my
you that
point.
one.
That's all
Point
I'm saying.
clearance.
So it's not about Odell Beckham. Can he upgrade from James Washington? Because again, it's not just about we keep talking about the development of CD and the development of Michael Gallup. But last year when they got in trouble, they were locking all three of them down. They were the physical corners. You still need another guy.
That's fair. You don't have a lot of faith in Simi or Jalen?
Stop it. Let's
Oh,
stop
asking
it. Stop
questions.
it. Do they?
I'm asking
Is Simeon
questions.
even on the roster? Ain't he in the reserve for the last
Asking
10 weeks?
questions. I'm just messing with you.
Okay.
I did ask Cavante.
I mean, I remember when Dennis Houston was supposed to have a touchdown against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I did ask Cavante today. I said, "Are we going to start seeing you get involved in the offense?" And he said, "There's plays in there for me."
Who?
Cavante Turpin.
Oh, I thought, okay.
He says there's plays in there for me, and he says I typically play my best football in January. So I think you could start seeing him. Maybe they've got something in the playbook for him during the playoffs.
Listen,
Let's hit the break here. Boss Man Fact. What's our confidence level? And number one, Kelvin Joseph and Chris Canty is calling for a firing of Mike McCarthy if this thing happens. We'll dive into that next with Clarence Hill, the Star Telegram, John Machota, the Athletic, Jane Slater, NFL Media. I'm Newey Scruggs. This is the Media Mash on DallasCowboys.com radio.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field, United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf, for winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
This week! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is.
It's a non-fungible token. Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Homeownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Back to Media Mash.
Media Mash right here on DallasCowboys.com radio. John Machota, the Athletic, my favorite, man. I always enjoy having you here, man. Then we got Clarence Hill, Star Telegram, Jing Slater, NFL Media.
Not the same enthusiasm with our walkout intro.
The Longhorns here, just doing what Longhorns do, baby. Just here's the bottom line, guys.
Bottom line.
I'm at DEFCON 5 with Kelvin Joseph on the football field. Make me feel good about this. Having to see, number one, play significant minutes in the secondary for the Dallas Cowboys as they try to make a season-ending push here in January to go to the playoffs.
We've given a lot of opinions, though. Why do you feel that way?
Okay, every time you see him in action, Christian Wilkins, touchdown. Colts game, touchdown. Penalty.
I agree.
When you look here, you see a second-round pick, and you just say,
Here's my thing. I don't know, forget this week and next week, but we're going to say going into the playoffs, You could tell me that starting corner opposite of Trayvon Diggs, outside corner, because Bland will be the guy in the slot. You could tell me it's Kelvin Joseph, Deshaun Wright, Kendall Sheffield, Mackenzie Alexander they just signed. And I could understand any one of them. Like, I can't rule out any of it right now. Kelvin Joseph is going to get every opportunity. I mean, he's a second-round pick. He's the next guy in the depth chart. But if you told me going into the playoffs that he wasn't the other starting corner, it would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, I think the issue with Kelvin Joseph has been his consistency and the cost of it. And I just keep going back to the calls that I would get from my LSU folks that they warned the Cowboys multiple times, knowing that he was sitting there and that the Cowboys were showing an interest.
I don't know. I feel like some people would say that
this was a guy you don't roll the dice on.
Right, but I'm sure that there are some people, maybe not to that length, but I'm sure that there's people with a lot of players that they draft. There's probably some people with Micah Parsons.
We talked about that,
and that looks like a great situation.
This felt like this was as it was described to me. Do you know how hard it is to get kicked out of LSU?
Mm-hmm.
That was literally how it was described to me, and I'm not saying I came in with bias as it relates to Kelvin Joseph.
Darius Geis didn't get kicked out of LSU.
It's hard.
But to your point, it's like
they invited him to leave. When LSU comes, hey man, you too hot for us. And then Kentucky, the basketball school, hey man, thanks. Thanks.
And what's also true, it wasn't like he was tearing it up on the field in college either. He had the measurables, but he wasn't, Stingley coming out of Kentucky or LSU.
We've talked about this many times. The thing I keep going back to is, like, even in training camp, you just didn't see.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why I go back to, he don't make play. He's made no plays, and I'll give him credit. He got his hands on the ball against the Colts.
Right.
That's the first time I've seen him get hands on the ball. Okay.
But this was the Colts.
Okay, whatever. Preseason training camp.
At least
I ain't
seen
him get his hands on the ball. My question is, and my thing is that even before the incident, he was horrible off the field last year. Okay. He was horrible. Showed up with all that stuff, all that baggage, all the questions, and he still let them down. It was a disappointment off the field as well as on the field as a rookie. Okay, and then the thing happened. It may have been a wake-up call for him. Probably one that he didn't deserve based on the circumstances and everything that happened, but the Cowboys gave him that extra opportunity. This, by all accounts, they say he's done the right things on the field, work ethic and all the other stuff. Mike and Quinn and everybody's talked about this. Certainly he's been a great player on special teams. But again, can he do it at cornerback? Can he do it on the field?
And I just keep going to you have a golden opportunity to take this job because Anthony Brown's contract is up this year, right? So you have the opportunity.
They tried to give him a job last year.
And I'm not saying play through sickness, but there are certain guys on this team like Micah Parsons. If he had an opportunity to start when he's just been sitting on this roster on special teams, you better believe that he would be out here with a diaper on playing. I truly feel that way about Micah. Now, not everyone's built like that, and I'm not saying you should, and I don't know what his illness is, so I don't want to be unfair here. But you have a golden opportunity. I don't know if I've seen him rise.
Well, there's two things on that.
To that occasion.
Well, that's what everyone's hoping to see this weekend.
But there's two things on that.
Everyone's hoping to see that this
But
Sunday,
there's two things on that. Because even if he wanted to come out here with illness, I'm keeping him away because it's gone through the locker room. So
right,
I don't want him to get anybody.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to get in the weeds about that.
Yeah, I don't want to get anybody.
And I don't know what his illness is, so I want to be fair on that. But
McCarthy said it's the same thing he had a couple of weeks ago. It's like a flu bug that's gone around, whether it's COVID or flu. I don't think you get COVID twice in a month. Yeah.
But let's rise out of that and go.
But my point in bringing it up is, in the opportunities that he's had a moment to step up, I haven't quite seen him do that. And so, to your point, I'd rather go with a veteran like Sheffield, who at least has familiarity with Dan Quinn's defense. He's a veteran. I'd feel a lot better with going some of those guys.
Don't you kind of feel like you would want to give him?
He deserves an opportunity.
Yeah, and wouldn't you want to give it to him right now? Play against Houston. Play against Jacksonville. We'll see what you have. If you're not there, like a Sheffield or somebody that Dan Quinn has obviously been around, maybe that's where you work him in more against the Eagles or something like that. But I think they want to see him. Hey, we'd love to see Kelvin Joseph for a full game play that one side and see what he can do.
And we all know that they're going to go after him. They're going to attack him.
Yeah.
100%.
So we'll see what he says there. Chris Canning of ESPN, former Dallas Cowboy.
I'm interested on this. When you teased that, I was like, I haven't heard this. What do we got here?
So Canning goes on the Get Up show, and he says the Cowboys lose to the Bucs in the playoffs. McCarthy is getting fired. And I tweeted back to him. I said, "Oh my goodness, my guy Chris Canty calls for McCarthy's firing if the Cowboys lose the Bucs in the playoffs." I said, Jerry Jones operates in context. And then Chris hit me back on Twitter. He said, "Yeah, I said it. Cowboys can't be one and done 2 years in a row with this kind of talent on the team. Context matters, but Jerry ain't buying green bananas."
What is the problem with what he said? What is the problem with what he said?
Well, what I said
I'll make an argument.
Well, I guess the argument is this. Let's be honest about this now. We love what they're doing right now. But if they go one and done in the playoffs, it's not going to be happy times.
Just like it was what he was brought in for.
It was not happy times last year. It's not going to be happy times around here. So I don't care what you do in the regular season. You can go 12-5, then go 13-3. If they go down there and lose to Tampa in the playoffs, all bets are off on Mike McCarthy staying.
I don't think there's many coaches that would have gotten them to their current record of 9-3.
No, you're right.
Losing their left
Not
tackle.
the point.
You're right.
Not
This is a dirty game.
Not the point.
And there's not a lot of coaches that
point.
can deal with everything that I actually was talking to Anthony Barr about coming here and how different it is. Randall Cobb's talking about.
Listen,
it is a different world here, and so
I really like Mike McCarthy.
Yeah,
Can you let her finish?
Well, look at what Sean McVay's doing in the absence of Matthew Stafford. Look at what the Colts are doing in the absence of having a guy like Matt Ryan. Credit to Mike McCarthy. Say what you will, whether he delegates, how much credit you want to give to him. He's got 2 winning seasons. He's gotten you to the playoffs.
And Jane, that's when I talk about the context of this. To just
get
simply
out of here,
say,
Clapper.
"Oh, you lost to Tampa Bay." How did you lose? What's the context of the
It's
whole
hard
season?
to win.
Everything that goes
It's
into
hard
that.
to win in the postseason.
That's
It's
all.
hard to win a
That's
Super
all I'm
Bowl.
saying.
Listen,
I'm
time
not
out.
saying Chris Canty's going to be wrong. But what I'm saying is Jerry will operate in the context. Lord knows he kept figuring out ways to give Jason Garrett one more shot. So the context matters.
Jason's in the family photo. He was in the family photo. Mike McCarthy's not. But again, context.
But he had the bar photo though.
But you say that, but I think Jerry would rather hang out with Mike McCarthy, to be honest with you.
I understand it, but
I'm just saying.
I know Steven
my
would.
point is the relationship was longer and deeper. We wanted to give him a chance. But Mike McCarthy was brought here to be better than Jason Garrett. To go one and done, even if you go back-to-back playoffs, is not better than Jason Garrett. Okay, he was brought here to take the Cowboys to the next level. To go and lose in the first round to a bad Tampa Bay team, I don't care what the context is.
You know what people always leave out with the
that
coach?
Tampa Bay team is
But
bad.
it's Tom Brady. I mean, even when you looked at that Saints game, you give that guy just 2 minutes in a game.
Saints are awful.
The other factor in here
The
is
Saints
who's
were awful.
available.
They had 3 points in the fourth quarter. They were awful.
Can John talk?
The other part is who's available. You don't just fire head coaches because we just need something new in here.
You know who's available?
Exactly. It's
Hold on. I'll get to it.
Context.
But I'm saying if he thinks that you say that, but then what if the defense starts looking awful, and what if they lose that game because Micah Parsons was that linebacker the whole time and he should have been a DN? Like
Well,
it's not going to be just
over there. I think
I'm just saying it's not going to be as simple as just like, okay, well then he's gone and gone. There is, like Nui said, there is context to it. Like how did they lose the game? What's going on? Where's the team going? Why is this happening? Like it's not going to be just okay. What's the final score?
Okay,
Mike, get your stuff.
Okay, you're right. There's no right or wrong answers here. The bottom line is this, and I've said that all year. We've talked about this year. I've talked to other people about this. Mike has done a great job. Jerry said after the game,
team, and we're talking already about Mike McCarthy.
That's my point. That's what
Newey
brought this up.
I know. I love the consistency of this
ESPN brought this up.
No, he didn't bring this on our show. You brought this on our show.
Former Dallas Cowboy.
Chris, you brought it to our show.
And I brought it to the show.
Okay, but the bottom line is this. No matter what happens this season, the playoffs is what matters.
Okay.
Mike talked about it. The players talked about it. That's what it's what happens in the playoffs. Okay. If you go one and done, all bets are off. I'm not saying it's a guarantee he fires him, but there's no guarantees coming back either if you go one and done in the playoffs.
I agree with that.
Chris Canty is not wrong.
Okay.
And again, Mike has done a great job. I like how he handles the media.
Everyone also
I like
seems
how he
that Mike
handles
would
the
want to
team.
stay here. What if another team wanted Mike?
Mike loves it here. His family loves it. I think Mike's having a great time.
No, I do too.
I mean, we've talked to him every. I mean, I wish you'd come here on Fridays. We talk every Friday off the. But I know you work too much and you do too much. You gotta get up at 6 a.m. for game. I know you can't come on Fridays. You understand all that?
Settled, Dig.
This is a great.
No, don't get me wrong.
talking
I
on
know
Fridays
that Mike is settled in here.
He is.
But if you don't think there's another team that's calling up Mike,
Mike likes Dallas. His family loves Dallas.
And you know what? This is a great stopping point because Jane's got her podcast coming up at the top of the hour, and we are out of time. So thank you, Clarence Hill, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. John Machota, I appreciate your 5% you got to get in here today.
I'm sorry,
from The Athletic, and that's Jane Slater of NFL Media. You got another 45 minutes in which you could dominate. And
do you want to come on the show since it's just us girls talking all the time?
It's just us girls talking.
You know what I would like to see? Clarence step into there.
Step in our world, Clarence.
Yeah, Clarence, you step right on in.
We're
there.
not
Just
exclusive.
Fine.
We're
Just fine.
inclusive.
This is the Media Mash. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?